Each team still has a timeout. Sixers with one, Bulls with one. 12 seconds left. Giddey on the inbound from Jones. It's Ubrayana. Herter sets up a screen. Giddey races to the basket, fires it out. Vucevic the shot.
Vuce Main for three. Vuce Main steps up again. The grizzled veteran steps up and hits the biggest shot of the season. Oh my goodness, Elizabeth, I'm coming again, Elizabeth. Oh Lord.
Last night, the Chicago Bulls made a 24-point comeback against the Philadelphia 76ers, ending with a game winner from Nikola Vucevic. After this game, the Bulls officially grabbed the first seed in the Eastern Conference, which I can't imagine many people expected. Last season, I personally really fell out of love with the Chicago Bulls. Not that I've only ever felt love for them, it's been complicated. I've been a fan for over a decade now, and last year was the least I have ever watched them in that time. When you're a fan of a franchise that has proven time and time and time again to be incompetent, it becomes hard to be rational and clear-headed about it, at least that's the case for me. I'd like to think I'm generally pretty level-headed and reasonable in my discussion of this game that I love, but when it comes to the Chicago Bulls, I just can't seem to do that. As a result, when they went on a late season run last year, I dismissed it as illegitimate, and I was specifically super critical of the rise of Josh Giddey. But I was wrong. Really wrong, especially about Giddey, but about the Bulls in general, and I'm happy to have been wrong, but simultaneously I'm still a little conflicted. It's complicated. Let's discuss. Hello everybody, welcome to Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel and drop a like on this video. Also hype the video because that's actually like the most useful feature in the YouTube world now. I feel like an old man every time I mention it, like what the hell is hyping the video, but yeah, do that. That's what helps me more than anything else. And check us out over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you'd like to enjoy this as an audio-only experience. So last year when the Bulls were going on the run that they were, King of the Fourth Quarter made a point about the Bulls, both just what they were that year, but also what it's like to be like basically two different types of fan. Those who are more short-sighted and in the moment versus those who have the bigger picture in mind. And for me, it's been rather hard to be an in-the-moment fan, given that those moments in the moment were really not all that great. It's mostly just been mediocrity after mediocrity, just mid after mid after mid. So naturally, my mind goes to, okay, I don't want this team to be mid anymore. I would like them to be bad so that they can get a really high draft pick and hope to land a player that can change the future of the franchise. The fact is, this year's draft class is awesome. Like 3 players who could be generational talents in the same class, or at the very least, that's what I'm being told by the draft people. I'm not one of them. Much of my apprehension with Giddey is that I thought the Bulls were making the same mistake that they did with Zach LaVine, which was building around a fundamentally flawed player for a first option. In this case, it's a passer who can't score versus a scorer who can't pass. And if you know me and my basketball philosophies well at all, you would know that I think there is a direct correlation between scoring and playmaking. And if you are good at one but not the other, I think you're actually not that good at the thing that you're good at, and you're overall just not that impactful of an offensive player. That was the opposite case with LaVine, where he's a really, really good scorer who just was not much of a passer. Giddey, by my summation, was a really good passer who just couldn't score that well. However, well, he can score. He actually is a pretty damn good one. Now, I still don't believe in his three-point shot. His volume is just too low to me. His release is too slow. His percentage so far this year is really good, and it was good last year. I just generally, with a lead guard, if you're shooting sub 5 threes per game, I don't really feel like that shooting is all that legitimate just because of what is expected of a high volume scoring guard in today's NBA. I also just kind of view shooting with some level of superstition. In fact, if there was anything that I was like completely willing to look over numbers for, it is shooting. The example that I have always cited is Al-Farouq Aminu, who had that one season where he shot like 40% from 3 on 4-ish attempts per game and then couldn't hit shit in the playoffs. Like, there's regular season shooting, and there's like, do I think this shooting stands the test of the playoffs? But his inside the scoring, Josh Giddey's inside scoring has been genuinely elite. He is shooting 70% at the rim, with 30% of his shots coming from there, which is really high volume for a guard. As of now, he is averaging 23 points per game. I don't know if that holds up. I don't know if he can maintain that high of a scoring average, but I was quite clearly wrong about the guy being just a non-scorer, period. I know that he averaged like 17, 18 towards the tail end of that run last year, but that was made even better with this start to this year. If he's a 20-point per game scorer while averaging basically 10 rebounds and 9 assists, then I can't really bitch about the guy being too one-dimensional. A lot of my animosity for Giddey was projecting my discontent with the Bulls front office. Before this regime, we had Gar Pax, who were fucking awful, and then there was a brief moment of pride and happiness that existed with the Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan era, but again, that was brief. So I've just been upset with this team and the way that they have moved more often than not, and I kind of just projected that anger onto Giddey and talked about him a little bit unfairly, I would say. I was quite sure that they were going to give him $40+ million a year, just like they did Zach LaVine, but they held out till the very end of the offseason and they got him down to $25 million a year. And especially if he maintains the production that he is right now, that's a very good deal. I also disliked Giddey just for being a true point guard, which again is a long-standing take that I have had, that I don't actually think true point guards are all that good, and it's a big reason why the NBA has moved away from the idea of a guy who averages 12 points and 12 assists. But he's not a true point guard if he's out there averaging 23 points per game, now is he? So once again, an issue that I had with Giddey just kind of falls to the wayside. If he's not getting paid too much, if he's not too unbalanced of an offensive player, then I don't really got anything to have qualms with. He's putting up a near triple-double, and he has been an engine of one of the best offenses in basketball so far this year. But it's not just him. Damn near everyone on this team has improved, which does bring into question their sustainability, because are we sure that we can improve that much internally? Like, probably some early season hot starts, but we'll get to the sustainability a little bit later. First things first, a big reason why this offense works is Tre Jones, who is starting alongside Josh Giddey, and that actually puts my true point guard issues to rest, because between them, the playmaking is distributed well. A big problem I have with true point guards traditionally is that if you're averaging double-digit assists, it's probably more of an indicator of an unbalanced offense than actually you just being that great of a playmaker. A lot of the times when you look at a team where a guy is averaging double-digit assists, there's like no one else under them who's even getting to like 3. But currently, Tre Jones is averaging 5.7, and him and Giddey combined average 14.8 assists and 5.5 turnovers. Manas Buzelis, who's by far my favorite player on this team, he has not put up 18+ points to this point like I had hoped, but his efficiency, especially from 3, has been really encouraging, as he has shot 42.5% on 4.7 attempts per night. Really good volume, really good percentage. Ayo Dosunmu has been averaging a career high in points and efficiency in damn near every metric. Also a career low in turnovers. He's seemingly had far more of a score-first mentality than he has ever in his career to this point, and I've been a big Ayo Dosunmu fan for his entire time at Chicago, so I'm frankly very happy to see that. Patrick Williams will forever be a disappointing player because he was the 4th overall pick, and $20 million a year is a little high for him, but still he's a good 20-minute per game role player. He's also shooting 40% from 3, playing solid defense. Kevin Huerter is actually really impressing me thus far. He has shot poorly from 3, about 31-32%, but he has been awesome inside the arc. He is shooting a career best 67% from 2, and he is playing shockingly good defense. The Chicago Bulls are actually 8 points better on defense with him. And with him being known as just not a defensive player at all before, I've been pretty damn shocked by how good he's been on that end. If the 3 ball starts to fall, which there's no reason to believe that it wouldn't, then he could be the most complete player that he has ever been in his career to this point. I've also liked what I've seen from Jalen Smith. In fact, I would say he's probably the unsung hero of this team. He's not hitting his three super well. He's at about 33%, but his inside the arc game has been so much better. Last year, dude basically did nothing besides for shoot threes. This time around, if the three's not falling, he is still managing to have a strong impact on the offensive end. And speaking of a big with really big offensive impact, Nikola Vucevic is good, and I have been ringing this alarm bell for a while now because he had like a bad season 2-ish years ago, especially shooting like sub 30% from three, and it made a lot of people just check out on the idea of him being good. But he found his three-point shot last season, and that has continued into this season, not only indicated by that game winner, but also the really, really good percentage that he is shooting. He's also a fantastic passing big, and that has been a huge key for the team success overall. This offense works because of Vucevic and the way that he works as a playmaker and play finisher, but also it works because in general, this team is diming each other up. The Bulls are 4th in the NBA in assists per game, and they're really efficient with it because they're only 13th in turnovers, which is not easy. It is not easy to pass as much as the Bulls do while keeping a relatively low turnover count. Of their 43.9 field goal makes per game at the time of recording, 29.6 of them are assisted, meaning that 67% of the shots that the Bulls score on are assisted buckets. They are the second highest points in the paint team, and they are currently number 2 in three-point percentage. The offense being this good is a bit of a surprise, but I wouldn't say it's that shocking. This has been a more offensive-oriented team from the onset, but the defense has also been good, and that's the really big surprise. Currently, the Bulls are the 12th best defense in the league, which obviously that's not amazing, but the expectation was for this to be an outright bad defensive team, and realistically, I think 12th is about where this team could maintain. The reason they've been so good on that end is their defensive wings. Isaac Okoro, who has been not very good on offense to the point that I've kind of disliked him so far this season. He is still making his mark on defense, and for what it's worth, he had a really, really good offensive game against the Sixers. Manas Buzelis is a beast on the defensive end. Opponents are scoring 4 points less with him on the floor. As I mentioned, Kevin Huerter has stepped up on that end of the floor as well. Truly shocking to me. Ayo Dosunmu has always been a strong defender. Patrick Williams is pretty solid on that end, if, again, a little bit disappointing. And Trey Jones, Josh Giddey, and Nikola Vucevic are not like terrible defenders like many would label them. Like, don't get me wrong, none of them are making an all-defensive team anytime soon, but that doesn't mean that they're all traffic cones. Vucevic especially. He has been a part of good defenses before, yet so many people act like he's a complete traffic cone, like he has no level of rim protection at all. Again, he's not a great defender, but he is good enough to be passable with a lot of good defensive wings around him, and that more than makes his offensive contributions, worth playing him high minutes. If he's going to be solid on that end, then really good on offense. Still a very good center. Giddey has a positive defensive on-off by a slight margin, and Vucevic is actually making opponents 5 points worse when he is on the floor. The Bulls are also 3rd in defensive rebounding, so they're ending their possessions super well. Between Vucevic and Giddey, who is a really, really good rebounding point guard, he's averaging 10 boards a game this year, and their big wings in Buzelis, Patrick Williams to an extent, they got the glass on lock. Also, Kevin Huerter is grabbing a lot of rebounds relative to his size and his minutes. Currently, the Bulls are 7th in opponent three-point percentage, and they were basically 1st or 2nd in that before last night's game. And by them being ranked in that, I mean they have the 7th lowest opponent three-point percentage. So I don't know that they can maintain that. I don't know if being a top 15 defense holds up all year, but I do believe the offense is mostly sustainable. Like, if they can be top 15 on defense, that's good enough because the offense, I think, should be good. Their 3-point percentage will basically inevitably dip a little bit. They're currently shooting 40%, and that's just not going to maintain all year. Last year's 3-point percentage leader was Milwaukee, and they shot 38.7%. But their offensive approach is strong enough that I actually think they could maybe be even better on offense, as all of this is without Coby White. Not that I'm necessarily sure that he actually makes things all that much better, just because I really like Tre Jones starting alongside Giddey. Maybe Coby ends up being the backup. Maybe he's the sixth man, spark plug off of the bench. Or maybe you trade him for something else to make this roster substantially better. But that brings us back to, how sustainable is this really? Are the Chicago Bulls like really, really good as this start would indicate? Well, as I mentioned, I think the offense will hold up and the defense will get a little bit worse. But does that make them like a 50-win caliber team and maybe a contender? Well, no. I do think that the power of friendship is doing a lot of heavy lifting right now, and there is an overall talent deficit relative to like the true contenders in the NBA and even the Eastern Conference. Like the Knicks are more talented, the Cavs, when healthy, are more talented, but a lot of their approach, the system, the play style, the team play, it is making them even better than previously thought. So like getting to 50 wins, I do think that is plausible in an incredibly weak Eastern Conference. And this would actually be the first time the Bulls have won 50 games in the last decade. The Bulls, and this is a big reason why I'm always fucking cynical about the Chicago Bulls, okay? The Bulls have had one 50-win season since I became a fan of the team, okay? One time. So I tend to just assume the worst. I'm kind of thinking they could do it this year. Like I'm pleasantly surprised by my level of optimism. But the question is, should they actually be trying to win right now, given, again, the draft class ahead of us is bonkers. Like, on one hand, dude, what a year to be bad. Like, if there was ever a year to intentionally be bad, it is this one. But the Bulls in the last few years have opted for mediocrity over tanking, which is fucking enraging. Part of the reason that I was so sour on the late game run last year, the late season run last year, is because why are we getting to like 38 wins when we could have 20 something and get a higher draft pick? But this time around, I don't think they're going to be mediocre. I think they're probably going to be one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. At the very least, they can do a little bit better than 500. There is not much to be gained from mediocrity, but if the approach is instead resulting in being an outright good team, then I can't be mad at them for that. Not to mention, there is a future in development here. Josh Giddey is 23, Buzelis is 21, and I genuinely believe Buzelis has perennial all-star potential. And Ayo and Tre Jones are both just 26. That's not young in the NBA, but it's still plenty of years to go before they're getting towards their 30s. This is a team that could mostly stay together for a really long time. I do worry about what the Nikola Vucevic replacement looks like as he's getting towards his mid-30s, because he is a unique play finisher who makes the offense work the way that it does. So replacing him is actually easier said than done, but that can be addressed later. For now, I'm going to try. I'm going to really try and be the more short-sighted fan and just enjoy the moment. I can't promise that I'm not going to be emotional about this team and go back and forth. I get embarrassed about it sometimes, truly, because there's no such thing as being objective. I have my own narratives. I have my own beliefs about the game of basketball that will always shape my commentary and that are always controversial to people, and I understand that. However, I do truly try to be as objective as one can be, but when it comes to my own team, I'm insane. I'm kind of a crazy person about this team, but right now I feel good crazy as opposed to bad crazy, and that's at least something. So I don't know what the future holds for the Chicago Bulls, but for the next couple of weeks, for the next couple of months, I'm going to just enjoy them playing basketball and enjoy them doing it really well, playing in a fun way and not pissing me off, which is an interesting change of pace. But thank you so much for watching. Shout out to Rudy for editing, and this is it. Goodbye.